In 1950, a British mathematician sat alone at his desk and asked a question so dangerous that governments would one day classify it as a matter of national security. That question was simple, barely one sentence long. Can machines think? His name was Alan Turing, and without knowing it, he had just lit the fuse on the most transformative and most controversial technology in all of human history. Today, that question has become reality. Machines can think. It is called artificial intelligence, AI. Today, artificial intelligence writes novels, it composes music, it diagnoses cancer faster than doctors, it drives your car, answers your phone, and recommends what you watch tonight. But where did it truly begin? Who built it? Why did it nearly die? Not once, but twice. And where is it taking us? Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you will understand AI, not just as a technology, but as a story, a human story. And it is far stranger, far older, and far more fascinating than you ever imagined. The journey of understanding artificial intelligence takes us so much back, much further than computers, much further than electricity. We actually need to go back to the very first time a human being dared to imagine a thinking machine. Let's begin. In ancient Greek mythology, the god Hephaestus, the divine blacksmith, forged Talos, a giant bronze automaton built to protect the island of Crete. He was programmed with a single purpose, patrolling the shoreline 3 times a day, hurling boulders at enemy ships. This was humanity's first recorded concept of an artificial being with a task, a machine with purpose. But mythology was just the beginning. In 1495, Leonardo da Vinci designed a mechanical knight, a suit of armor that could sit, wave, and move its jaw. His notebooks reveal hydraulic systems and cable-driven limbs. It never walked the streets of Florence, but the blueprint existed. The dream was alive. By the 1700s, Swiss and French craftsmen built extraordinary clockwork automatons, mechanical ducks that could eat grain and appear to digest it, mechanical musicians that played real instruments. They were parlor tricks, yes, but they were also proof of a profound human obsession. Can we create something that acts like it is alive? And then came the 19th century, and a young woman at a party changed everything. Her name was Ada Lovelace. Daughter of the poet Lord Byron, she became the world's first computer programmer, a century before computers existed. Working alongside mathematician Charles Babbage and his proposed analytical engine, Ada wrote the first algorithm intended to be processed by a machine. She understood something her contemporaries did not, that a machine built to calculate numbers might one day be used to compose music, to manipulate symbols, to think. Fast forward to 1936. A 24-year-old Cambridge graduate publishes a paper that most people, even scientists, barely noticed at the time. But this paper would become the mathematical foundation upon which every computer, every smartphone, and every AI system ever built is constructed. Alan Turing described a theoretical device, now called the Turing machine, that could simulate any computation by reading and writing symbols on a tape. It was abstract, purely mathematical. But it proved something staggering. A single universal machine could, in theory, compute anything that is computable. He had just defined what a computer was, before one existed. But Turing was not done. In 1950, he published his landmark paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, and asked that dangerous question: can machines think? Between those 2 publications, Turing performed one of history's greatest intellectual feats in the most unlikely of places. A wartime code-breaking center in the English countryside called Bletchley Park. Then came the summer of 1956. At a small academic workshop at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, a group of young mathematicians, psychologists, and computer scientists gathered with an audacious proposal. John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, Claude Shannon, and others put forward the idea that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can, in principle, be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. They gave the field its name, artificial intelligence. With that, the race began. The decade that followed felt electric. Researchers believed that human-level AI was just 10, maybe 20 years away. Governments poured money into the field. Headlines screamed of thinking machines. In 1957, the General Problem Solver, a program designed to mimic human reasoning, was born. In 1966, Eliza, a primitive chatbot created at MIT, could hold a basic conversation. Some users became emotionally attached to it, the first hint of a future that would raise profound questions about the nature of connection. In 1968, Stanley Kubrick's film 2001, A Space Odyssey, depicted HAL 9000, an AI that spoke, reasoned, and even lied. It terrified audiences, and it shaped the public imagination of AI for generations. But reality was stubborn. The early AI programs could only solve toy problems. They couldn't handle the complexity and messiness of the real world. Computers were too slow, memory was too scarce, and the data they needed simply didn't exist at scale. By the mid-1970s, the promises had curdled. Funding dried up, labs closed, researchers moved on. The field entered what became known with a kind of grim poetry as the AI winter. There would actually be two AI winters, one in the 1970s, another in the late 1980s, separated by a brief and optimistic spring. Each time, the hype exceeded reality. Each time, the crash was painful. And each time, a small group of true believers refused to give up. In the 1980s, AI reinvented itself. Instead of trying to simulate all of human intelligence at once, researchers focused on narrower domains. The result was expert systems, programs that encoded the knowledge of human specialists into logical rules. Mycin, developed at Stanford, could diagnose bacterial infections and recommend antibiotics with an accuracy that matched or exceeded experienced physicians. Corporations invested billions. Japan launched a national program to build a fifth-generation computer. For a moment, it seemed like AI had found its footing. But the second winter came. Expert systems were expensive, brittle, and difficult to maintain. They broke outside their narrow domains. The hype collapsed again. What came next, however, would prove to be different. Fundamentally, permanently different. Working quietly in university labs through the coldest years of AI winter, a small group of researchers, including Geoffrey Hinton, Yann LeCun, and Yoshua Bengio, who would later be called the godfathers of AI, were pursuing an idea considered almost heretical by mainstream computer science. What if, instead of programming a machine with rules, you let it learn from data, the same way a human brain learns? They called it neural networks, and for a very long time, almost nobody listened. You're halfway through, and the best part is coming. If this story of AI has fascinated you, take 1 second right now to hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to the fascinating origin of things so you never miss an origin story like this one. We jump to 2012. and everything changed forever. At a prestigious computer vision competition called ImageNet, a deep neural network called AlexNet, built by Geoffrey Hinton and his students at the University of Toronto, crushed every competitor. Its error rate was nearly half that of its closest rival. The scientific community was stunned. The race to understand deep learning, neural networks with many layers trained on massive datasets, began overnight. From this moment, Silicon Valley poured billions into AI research. Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft. Every major technology company restructured itself around artificial intelligence. Geoffrey Hinton joined Google. Yann LeCun joined Facebook. The quiet academic revolution had become a full-scale industrial transformation. In 2016, the world got a major wake-up call. DeepMind's AlphaGo defeated Lee Sedol, one of the greatest Go players in human history, 4 games to 1. Go is a game with more possible positions than atoms in the observable universe. It was supposed to be the game AI could never master. The game required intuition, creativity, soul. AlphaGo didn't just win. In Game 2, it made a move 37, a mover that no human player would ever have considered. Professional players watching the match went silent. Then one whispered, "It's beautiful." A machine had made a move so creative, so unexpected, that it moved human beings to stunned admiration. The rules had changed. In 2017, a team at Google published a paper with a quiet title, "Attention is all you need." It introduced the transformer architecture, the technical innovation that would, within 5 years, reshape the world. OpenAI, a San Francisco lab founded in 2015 by Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and others, took the transformer architecture and built GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Each iteration was more capable than the last. But GPT-3, released in 2020, was something genuinely different. Trained on hundreds of billions of words, almost the entirety of human text available on the internet, it could write essays, generate code, answer questions, and hold conversations with an uncanny fluency. The world was beginning to sense something was coming. Then, in November 2022, ChatGPT launched. Within 5 days, it had 1 million users. Within 2 months, 100 million. It became the fastest-growing consumer application in history. Suddenly, artificial intelligence was no longer a topic for research papers. It was in every home, every office, every conversation. Teachers were asking if students were still writing their own essays. Lawyers were asking if contracts could be drafted by machines. Radiologists were asking if their careers had an expiry date. The questions Alan Turing asked in 1950 were no longer theoretical. It was happening. But with the awe came fear. And the fear was not unfounded. Artificial intelligence has exposed our vulnerabilities in ways we are only beginning to understand. Deepfakes, hyper-realistic synthetic videos, have been used to spread disinformation, manipulate elections, and harm individuals. Facial recognition systems have been shown to misidentify Black and Asian faces at dramatically higher rates than white faces, raising urgent questions about algorithmic bias and racial justice. Millions of jobs, from truck drivers to graphic designers, from customer service agents to paralegals, now face genuine disruption. The World Economic Forum has warned that AI could displace 85 million jobs globally by 2025, while creating 97 million new ones. The net number may be positive, but the transition will be brutal for many. And then there is the question that keeps AI researchers themselves awake at night. What happens when AI surpasses human intelligence entirely? Stephen Hawking warned, "The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race." Elon Musk called it summoning the demon. Geoffrey Hinton, one of the men who built this technology, resigned from Google in 2023 specifically so he could speak freely about the dangers he helped create. But there are equally powerful voices on the other side. Yann LeCun argues that today's AI systems are far from general intelligence, that the fears are overblown. Demis Hassabis of DeepMind believes AI is our greatest tool yet for solving humanity's hardest problems: climate change, disease, poverty. In 2023 alone, AI helped discover a new class of antibiotics to fight drug-resistant bacteria, predicted the structures of 200 million proteins, nearly every protein known to science, and enabled new breakthroughs in nuclear fusion energy. So where does all of this lead? Researchers speak of 3 levels of artificial intelligence. We have already achieved narrow AI, systems that are superhuman at specific tasks: chess, Go, image recognition, language. What most AI researchers believe will come next is artificial general intelligence, AGI, a machine that can perform any intellectual task a human being can. OpenAI has stated that AGI is one of its primary objectives. DeepMind's researchers work toward it. Some believe it will arrive within a decade. Others say a century. A few believe it may never come. Beyond AGI lies the concept of artificial superintelligence, an AI that surpasses human intelligence in every dimension. It is the stuff of science fiction. Or it was, until recently. What almost everyone agrees on is this: the pace of AI progress is accelerating. What took 30 years to develop once now takes 3. The next decade will likely bring AI-powered medicine that diagnoses diseases before symptoms appear. AI tutors that give every child on Earth a personalized education. AI systems that design new materials, new drugs, new energy sources at a speed no human team could match. It will also bring challenges we cannot yet fully anticipate. Questions of rights. Can an AI be conscious? Does it deserve protection? Questions of control. Who governs the most powerful technology ever created? Questions of meaning. What is the role of human creativity, human connection, human purpose in a world where machines can do almost everything? We began with a question from a lonely mathematician in 1950. Can machines think? Today, we know the answer is more complicated and more magnificent than Alan Turing could have imagined. The machines do not think the way we do, but they have learned to speak our language, solve our equations, paint our pictures, and map the proteins of life. The story of artificial intelligence is not really a story about machines. It is a story about human beings, our curiosity, our ambition, our hubris, our hope. It is the story of people who asked impossible questions and refused to stop until they found answers. We are living inside the most pivotal chapter of that story right now. And unlike every chapter before it, this one does not yet have an ending. The ending is ours to write. If this video made you see AI differently, or if it raised questions you want to explore, leave them in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you're new here, welcome to the fascinating origin of things. Every week, we uncover the hidden histories of the ideas, inventions, and forces that shape your world. Hit subscribe. Don't miss what's coming next.